Have you ever been floodlighted? You know, when someone shares more information than you want to know, and you're in that awkward situation where you're not quite sure what to say? Or you've met the person who you might say is kind of aloof, they don't share a lot, and you have a hard time connecting with them. If you can relate to any one of these, you're going to like this topic. This conversation is for people who have a desire to take the stage and engage and connect with an audience. And we're going to talk about earning the right. Yes, earning the right to be seen as the coach, the mentor, the guide, the person that people hire. How do you actually earn the right? My name is Suzanne Hart. Welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. And each week we bring you breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. Now, as you jump on, as you join us, do the usual. Please let us know who you are and where exactly you are joining us from. I would love for you to post your vocation, what you do while you're living, who you are called to serve, and what exactly brought you out tonight. What are you excited about learning? What do you want to know? And if you have a question, definitely put it in the comment section. Also, going to ask you to stay engaged, comment, share, ask questions, create some energy. I love engagement. I have a very cool guest for you tonight. Also, if you are listening to the replay, hashtag replay, and then go ahead and do the same thing. Let us know who you are, where exactly you are joining us from, and what brought you out? What had you stop and listen to this recording? I want to know. As you're going through, definitely feel free to comment, ask questions, let us know what's on your mind. And when you love what you hear, go ahead and share it. Share it with a friend, share it to your page, share it in a group that you're part of, provide it to someone who you think will get value from the information. Why did we do that? Because I totally believe that knowledge is power. And more importantly, when we get into communication about the information we know we've learned, it kind of goes deeper. So I want to ensure that you are sharing the information, getting in communication with it, and sort of beginning to internalize it. And if you have a big takeaway when you're finished listening, please do leave it in the comment section. So I see we have Dr. Corzette White that has joined us. I see Taria as out there. I see people are starting to join us. So good evening. Welcome. So excited to see you. All right. So I'm excited to get this conversation started. So if you are just joining us, our topic today is how have you earned the right? Have you been earned the right to be seen as the expert, the coach, the mentor, the guide? You know, when you want people to engage with you, buy your products and services, how do you earn the right? The right to that thing that lets people know I have the qualifications to be your guide. But more importantly, how do you earn the right that lets them know you're the one? And I mean the one that's separated from the other hundreds of thousands of people who do exactly what you do. How do you earn the right to be the guide? So let me talk to you a little bit about the woman I'm going to introduce. This woman has been journeying with Taria and I for the past year. We have watched her transform, grow, and truly do the work to earn the right. So we're going to dive into that today. She's an author. She's a mentor. She's a mindset trainer. She's a mother of two. In her spare time, she drives a motorcycle. I love it because that's one of the things I love. And she's just a lot of fun. Please help me welcome Patricia Larocque.
Good evening, Suzanne. What a great introduction. It's nice to see you today.
It's so good to see you. And you look fantastic. So I love that color on you.
Thank you very much.
So welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. And I know you have been a faithful follower of the show and really diving into some of the stuff that we've been putting out there. And you've been actually journeying with us in unleash the power of your story, and then freestyle, and now program development. So it's been a journey.
It has been.
So I wanna dive into this whole concept of earning the right. And if you're just joining us, I'm sitting down with Patricia Larocque. You're watching Unstoppable Mindset, and each week we bring you breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. So before we jump in, tell the audience a little bit about what inspired you to consider, one, developing a program, and two, taking the stage.
Thank you, Suzanne. So I've been I've been a mentor for many, many years in my life. And I've taken a lot of courses, a lot of training. I spent 2 decades, but I was always looking for that something. Like in French,
Mhm.
we say je ne sais quoi. There was
What?
always something missing with all these programs that I invested. And I met you, I believe I met you maybe about 5 years ago. There was a woman retreat in Ottawa, and there was something about your energy. There was something about you. I wasn't quite sure what it was. Then I was like, I need to talk with her some more. Um, and at the same time, I was still going through the process of finding someone. And when it comes to public speaking, I've always done it either at work or in my spare time. Talking is one of the arts that I enjoy doing, but there is talking to talk and talking to touch people. And that's where I was looking to get to the next level. And then I was lucky enough one day, you were putting up this program, and I was like, I remember her. And the rest is history, pretty much.
Mhm. So you were looking for that something, and it's interesting because oftentimes one of the things that I get when I'm on stage, people go, "There's something. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something." And you were looking for that something. Awesome, awesome. So you have been on a journey, and one of the things that you learned really early in our program was this whole concept of earn the right. Can you share with everyone kind of what that means for you now that you've been on the journey?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. I would like to take the audience back about, would it be like about 6, 7 months ago? I was giving an assignment to record a very simple, straightforward 5 to 7 minutes video. So I could put it as like part of the homework and all that. And I felt stuck. And I
Mhm.
remember spending days and had so much anxiety. I had my stomach was turning, and I just couldn't understand because I've overcame so much more in my life. For instance, I've overcame almost being homeless. I've overcame moving into a new city. I've overcame becoming a single mother, and so much more challenges that had a lot more value and importance. And here I was asked to record a 5 to 7 minute video, and I didn't know what to do. And I remember I was sitting by my bedroom window, and I wanted to call you. And at the same time, I was like, no, I got this. I got this. What do you mean? Like, Patricia, you got this. And it's almost as if it was me between two walls. And for the first time in my life, I just didn't know what to do. And I gave you a phone call. And as we were talking, it was me doing most of the talking, and you pretty much repeating to me what I was saying to you in a different way. I almost as if I broke, and I started to cry because I realized for the first time in my life, I didn't have to survive in the decision that I was making. And I spent a few decades in survival mode. And for the first time in my life, I had to use a different muscle that I wasn't quite sure what it was because I wanted to thrive. I wanted more in my life.
Mm. And I love this. I want to put it in context for everyone. So this is towards the end of our program, or it actually is at the end of the program and our beginning of program development.
Yes.
And Patricia had been like a star pupil. You give her a video, it was in. You give her an assignment, it was in. Like she got everything done. And how the program works, part of the program is every week you're asked to drop a 7 to 10 minute video of you speaking into our practice group, and we audit them.
Mhm.
Yes, we do. It's lots of fun for those of you listening. We audit and we give feedback, and all your peers give you feedback. So people get over their fear of speaking in front of public pretty quickly.
Yes.
And so Patricia was like every week doing these videos. Suddenly the video stopped. And what was interesting was the video stopped in the moment when Patricia started working on her program.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the process. So we're sitting and we're having this conversation, and you have this distinction between survival
Yeah.
and thriving.
Yeah.
And what, just to be clear for the audience listening, as we talk through it, you had spent many years in survival mode. How many of you are really good at getting into action when your back's against the wall? Isn't that the thing?
Yeah.
When your back's against the wall, when you don't have a choice, you'll make it happen. If that's you, put yes in the comments section, put back against the wall, whatever it is that resonates with you. But let Patricia know that she's not alone. I know that's me. However, because Patricia's life had grown and she was in a good place and things were great, what she realized was this thing called thriving, where you act fully out of choice, you act fully because you're choosing more. It's a totally different mental habit, way of being, and there you were stuck.
Yeah. Yes, I was. But not for long, but I was.
So talk through the getting unstuck.
Yes, the getting unstuck was very interesting and very simple. That's the funny thing is I guess I had a misconception that that moment in my life that I was surviving, I thought I was thriving. So what happened is I had to get one with myself. I had to accept that I wanted more in my life, and I had to accept that the journey that I was about to embark, it was a journey that I didn't quite know what I was going to find. However, I looked at, let's say, I looked back in a few decades of my life and seeing everything that had happened, like all the outcome, seeing where I was, let's say, financially and in my relationship with my children, where I am when it comes to my employment. And I asked myself, will I be okay to continue living, the same life for the next 5 or 10 years? And the answer was no.
Yeah.
And I also had to understand, okay, so what is it? What muscle have I been using for so many decades when it comes to thriving? And I'm sorry, I apologize, surviving. And that uncomfortable feeling that I had, it wasn't quite being uncomfortable. It was just that new muscle that was always there, but I just didn't know how it felt like. And that was the muscle called thriving. So it was really where it's like being at a crossroad and accepting the beauty, the ugly, the good, and the great, and making amends with yourself. And when it comes to things that maybe you, like for me, that I didn't accomplish, having the wrong definition of what failure was per se,
Mhm.
and being okay to step out into being uncomfortable, being okay to step out into being great, and being okay to step out into wanting more, and knowing that if I ever fall, that I'm not alone. And that was for me the most important thing, knowing that it's okay to want more, and not everybody wants more, and that's okay. But for myself, for me and my daughters, like, I wanted more in life for me. I wanted more for them,
Mhm.
So that's how I got unstuck. And you know because I'm used to that survival muscle, I have moment where I fall back, but I don't stay there as long as I used to. To that day when I called you and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know what to do." And to be totally transparent with the audience here, it didn't happen overnight. I cried and I wept for a good couple days, and then
Yeah.
I had to pick myself back up and be like, "Okay, well, we got this." And that's the beauty of thing, is that we all have this. It's a matter of you making that commitment to yourself, that, okay, well, this is a new page, and this is my new step forward. So that's how.
Mhm. And I remember when we were sitting and we were talking, you were talking this through and we were working through it. And I remember because I was sitting looking out my window in my living room,
Mm,
uh, and we were having this really beautiful conversation, and we were discovering the distinction between thriving and surviving, and me telling you, you just have to build this new muscle called
yeah.
survival, called thriving.
Mhm,
And I said in my mind, it's the hardest muscle to build because you're not uncomfortable.
mhm,
Uh, Things are good.
yeah.
And I talked about the difference being with the term being um, grateful but dissatisfied, and how we can be grateful but still want more. We can love what's going on in our life and still want more. However, movement in that place is a new muscle because you're not thrown out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You're choosing to step out. And how many of you have actually tried to step out of your comfort zone and decided to jump right back in because, well, real comfortable here?
Yeah.
And the biggest things for entrepreneurs and creatives and people up to big things is to learn to build the muscle of choosing to step out and stay out, choosing to step out and stay out, choosing to step out and stay out.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we talked about when you were kind of we were in the conversation, I said, Patricia, you're ETRing right now. You're earning the right. Can you explain to the audience why I would say that to you? Barbara's saying, I feel your pain, girl.
Thank you, Barbara. So the best way I could explain it is this way. So when I was saying earlier, when the interview started, how I had invested a lot of funds for my growth. So I've invested on amazing coach, amazing mentor, but there was always something missing. I didn't quite connect with them, let's say, to a soul level, because I believe the walk that I walked is not the same walk that they walked. So we
Mhm.
were able to meet maybe halfway with our life experience or street experience, or education experience. But that was where the road ended for me, and that's why I spent, like I said, a few decades just investing, and looking, and to the best of my knowledge, your reminding of me when it comes to ETR is that the way you earn the right is by going through the journey, by
Mhm.
falling down, by getting back up, by realizing that, okay, well, maybe I should make a little change here, a little adjustment here. by going through the pain, it's a different type of pain. It's not like, doesn't mean it has to be physical pain, but like mental pain and mindset, like the change of a mindset, that's a pain on its own. But it was the
Yeah.
like, but you're for me, I was, the way I could say it is this way. When what I knew, survival is the same feeling as having a lion running after you. So I was an excellent survivor. I did it in my sleep, my eyes closed. I could multitask while surviving, and it was no question asked. Whereas thriving, it became, I tamed the lion, and the lion now was by my side, and I was walking towards greatness. So earning the right is, and that's how I believe when it comes to you, I feel like I found my person, is we maybe didn't go through the same struggle. However, the struggles are extremely similar, and I could connect to a soul level. And that's how people earn the right. They earn the right, and they differentiate themselves from other coach, other mentors, because you have walked the walk. It's not just talking the talk, but you've walked the walk. You know where people get stuck because you got stuck. You know what to say to your friend, your client, because you've went through that. You know that, like, for instance, when it came to me, when my video I started producing, you knew, like, I did come to you, but I know when we spoke, you knew, you're like, Patricia, I've gone through that. So it's by going through the process and coming out of it and having all the learn, and that's how you become an expert. It's not just an expert, you went to school, you got a diploma, you got a PhD, but you got the PhD, and on top of that, you have gone through all the struggles. And so the ETR, that is earning the right.
Well said. Well said. And it's a distinction that I learned when I first started speaking, and then took it to a whole other level. And my mentor would probably be like, "Lord, child, Suzanne, really?" But I did. And why is that? Earn the right on stage is your ability to tell the story that lets the audience know that you have walked in their shoes or similar shoes.
Yeah.
It's your ability to tell the story that lets them know, I understand the pain that you might be feeling. I understand the frustration, the struggle. And it may not be the same exact experience, but it's being able to convey to them that I get it. I get it. And it's more than theory, it's more than skills, it's more than knowledge. It is the walk of experience. And so whenever someone comes into the program and they're building out their program, and you're building your program about the ability to thrive as you're learning and building it and experiencing it, what I say to them is, you're going to earn the right in this program because I'm going to dig.
Mhm.
And the reason to do so is because I want you to use every experience that you have so that you can give it back to your audience, and you can use it for your students, and you can have compassion and empathy and a listening that can only come from experience.
Yes. Yes.
Talk a little bit about what are some of the things that you have been doing to build yourself up as a coach, a mentor, a speaker, in terms of earning the right.
Okay. That's a great question. That's a very great question. Thank you, Suzanne. So I think the main thing for me, it's my mindset. There's the mindset and who's around me. For me, it's very important. I had to put my house in order when it comes to who do I let influence me? Who do I let
Mm.
influence my mind? Uh, although I know a lot of people, but I limit the amount of people, like the amount of time that I would spend with those around me. So I have a very small circle of friends who I can bounce things through, and I could be 100% honest. I could be open and share what I have to share. In addition to that, another thing that I've been doing, I love to read.
Mhm.
I love to keep my mind busy with I don't want to say like healthy, uh, but
Yeah.
like healthy learning. So I'm constantly reading books. I'm constantly listening to books. I constantly self-check myself. If I have, let's say, for instance, I have a bad thought about myself, I don't disregard it anymore. I actually ponder and sit on it, and I try to go to the root of it. Why is that? By replacing it with the truth.
Mhm.
Mind, our minds do play tricks on us.
Yeah, big time, big time.
So, yeah.
I want to dive into the reading a little bit because you know, it's so key. So we're talking about you know, our speaker program and our speaker journey,
Mhm,
and these are people who want to master uh, the stage, whether it be video on social media, the big stage, the one-on-one stage, all those sorts of things.
mhm,
And one of the things that I encourage everybody to do is to become an avid, like crazy reader.
mhm,
And so anyone who starts hanging out with me, their reading quota goes up.
mhm,
And you know, I'm like 3 to 4 books a month, audio reading, the whole bunch of things. I got a bunch of books on the move. I have my book I take when I go walking. I have the book for in the morning. I have the book for my book club. I have like I'm reading.
mhm,
And talk a little bit about how just that level of reading helps with content creation
mhm.
and helps with constant growth
Okay.
as a mentor and a coach.
Yes. Reading is so great. So it's interesting how you said that when people start hanging out with you or working with you, their level of reading just kind of skyrocket. It has for me. I usually say I love reading, and I do love reading, but I have since last year when I started a program with you to today, I've read 97 books.
Whew.
Don't know how, but it just happened. So,
Tria, did you hear that one? You gotta put that in the comment section, girl.
I put
97.
comment section 97 books. And the amazing thing about reading and your mind is that it's almost as if you tap into your creativity. And on top of tapping into your creativity, you also tap into all this content that you already have in you. But one sentence can remind you of 10 years ago, and an incident that you overcame, a learned, and you're like, oh wow, I got to write this down. Or you know, some of the books that I read, like I have friends also that read it so we could talk about it. And as we are exchanging thoughts and ideas, and then something come up like, oh yeah, that's that's another
Yeah.
great idea. So I find for me the importance of reading, not just to have new philosophy, but it's good if if you have bad philosophy and you're looking for something. Hey, let me tell you, reading books, there's a lot of amazing philosophy,
Yeah.
and it's all about, you take what resonate with you, you take what um your gut feeling tells you, yeah, this is good, this is not good, and the rest you kind of just leave it. So for me, reading uh this amount of books, and it's interesting because it always stay within the mindset. It could be leadership. Once again, it's not necessarily leadership. You could be a leader at all level. It's not just
Mhm.
those who are at top. Even people at the grocery store could be leaders. So like, then for me, it's creating new thought, new idea that I not didn't necessarily think about or know about, but reading for me has been one of the most amazing content finder, and my imagination has
Uh,
a triple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is another part of ETR. And it's a big thing. So we're going to harp on it because it's a big thing in our program. We talk about it all the time. Earn the right, earn the right. And in my mind, it is not enough to hang out your shingle, write your content, and be the coach. My belief is, how do you make your best better? How do you up level? What new content are you learning? What new content are you writing? And most people who work with me know program gets pretty well rewritten every time I teach it. And I tell people it's because I've gotten better.
Mhm.
I've gotten more content. I've learned more. I've learned from the students. I've learned from Taria. Taria and I brainstorm. We read a book and it's like, oh my gosh, we got to incorporate this somehow, some way. And so the commitment of taking the stage is way beyond just being able to speak. It's about, who am I becoming as a person? How am I growing? How am I developing? And how am I not just mastering my skills, but mastering my being,
Mhm.
right? And so what has this done for your, let's talk a little bit about what has, just a practice,
Mhm.
because when we talk about earning the right, and I part of the challenge I give everyone is to get to know your content, and the talk structure that we teach and everything so well that it's part of you.
Mhm.
And I go, once you get to that place, your confidence when you take the stage will skyrocket. You will be surprised what comes out of you. Talk a little bit about how the practice, like you dropped videos, girl. Like you were a star student, drop every week, sometimes twice a week. How did that build your confidence?
It brought me back. It's kind of funny to say because we're like kind of retracting a bit. It brought me back to when I was a kid.
Okay.
When I was a kid, the sky was the limit.
Yeah.
Actually, not even the sky, like past the sky. Like, the moon, past the moon. I had no fear. Speaking my mind wasn't an issue. I always did it, maybe not in the most nicest way, but speaking my mind wasn't an issue. And as I grew older and older, um, maybe I find myself being the person who would be at the back of the room and hoping someone had the same question as me, so I wouldn't have to ask it. The beauty of practicing kind of brought me back to, being able to voice out my opinion and knowing that my opinion, my thought, and what I'm sharing, a lot of people are waiting for that. A lot of people are finding value into that. And being able to be more concise when I'm sharing my thought, my ideas, it also for me makes me feel like I am doing, I am on track with where I need to be. I'm fulfilling my God-given goal, like what I want to do in life. I've always helped people. That's
Mhm.
one of the things that in anything I've done in my life, I've always been such an excellent giver, an excellent helper. But now I'm able to do it in a way where I can connect from heart to heart instead of
Mm.
connecting from head to head. It's really the heart. And often enough, I find myself just um, attracting my people. So practicing for me has giving me a lot more confidence. Like in the beginning of the program, I used to, yes, I was an excellent student. I used to post because I love a challenge or two. So you ask me to put one video, I'll give you three. You ask me to put two, I'm going to put six. And like you put a challenge and it's like, you need to finish this by the end of the week. I'm like, forget the week. I'm gonna finish it in 2 days. That was just, and that was just the person I am. But what made it more beautiful is that on top of sharing and doing it, I realized that, oh, I'm capable to do it consistently until I hit a wall. But it's the consistently. And even when I hit a wall and I fall down and I'm like, I have all the tools. I have all the tools that I need to get back up and continue being consistent. And because people want to hear what I have to say.
And that's so key. And how many people I see Anthony listening, I see Ken out there, Ken McCarthy. I think you have a fan, Patricia. So for everyone listening, one of the things that we strive for in the program is consistency, and we ask for a minimum of a video a week, and most people are challenged by it.
Mhm.
And part of the reason we talk about that is that, in my mind, we're grooming mentors, coaches, experts, and how we get our message out is not periodically, it's not sporadically, it's consistently.
Yes.
And so one of the things that you built that muscle is being consistent. And I'm talking about all these ways that each and every one of us as experts, as mentors, if you want to use those words, you got to earn the right. So one of the things we challenge is you got to consistently show up in the marketplace. You got to consistently show up. And so it's the practice of consistently showing up. Talk a little bit about earning the right through vulnerability.
Oh, that's a good one. Earning the right through being vulnerable. So the first thing I could say is that too many of us have the misconception that being vulnerable is actually a weakness. And I was one of them. And I don't know if there is any, I'm sure there is. If you could put vulnerable in the comment section, it would be excellent. So the beauty of connecting with other heart to heart is being vulnerable. And for me, oh man, it felt like a huge mountain. It felt like a huge mountain because it was ingrained in my head that showing emotion was a sign of weakness. Crying was a sign of weakness. Telling people, sharing with people the hurt that you feel was a sign of weakness. So I showed up in the world with this face that was, put together. There was no emotion. When I had emotion, we had to stop whatever we were doing because I had to step out because this could not happen. However, behind closed door, I was a mess. I was a mess. And I thought that was healthy. And I honestly believe that I was the only one feeling that way. And what's beautiful is that through this program, I realized that no, actually, we all have it so wrong. Being vulnerable is actually a sign of strength, great strength. And by being vulnerable, that is where you connect with your audience. That is where you connect with your people. That is where you can make an entire room, let's say, cry, not because of sadness, but cry because for the first time, they feel like you know exactly how they feel. For the first time, you know how sometimes you've been to some talk or presentation and someone made an excellent presentation and you felt like they were talking to you?
Yeah.
That is exactly what happened when you're vulnerable. And for me, the fear, I had the fear the wrong place just because it was ingrained in me. But when I understood that, no, and I know there was a couple of people in the group that started to be vulnerable and it made me feel very uneasy. Like I'm very good in comforting, but I had to tell myself, no, I need to get there because through being vulnerable, that is where you find your power. And through your power, that's where you connect with people. And when you connect with people, the rest, it does itself.
And I want to really highlight this because there's a difference between being vulnerable and using vulnerability.
Mhm.
And using vulnerability is dropping information that's not necessary. It has no learn, it has no purpose. And when
Mhm.
we're talking about being vulnerable in terms of speaking, training, mentoring, it is really about using vulnerability because inside that vulnerability, there's a lesson.
Mhm.
And I believe that when people say, I don't know what it is about you, I think it's exactly that thing is that I use vulnerability and authenticity as a teaching tool.
Mhm.
And so for many people, they're like, I don't know what she did.
Mhm.
And I just think I let you see me.
Mhm.
And because often when I walk into the room and I'm the coach, they see me as the expert because that's the privilege I'm in that room with.
Mhm.
When I take the stage and I let the veil down, people are like, "Oh, she's kinda like me." And then they have some insight into the journey
Mhm.
that got me to be standing there in that moment.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the connection happened, and that's how you said, I feel like I know her,"
Mhm.
because in something I shared was you seeing yourself. And
Exactly.
that's that vulnerability. So talk about, I got questions, girl. Talk about, vulnerability and freestyling. And for those of you who are new, and you don't know what freestyling is the term I use for taking the stage and speaking without notes.
Mhm.
And if you are comfortable doing that, put a yes I am in the comment section and or a freestyle in the comment section. And if you're like, what on earth? Put what on earth. So talk about earning the right and getting that place of freestyling and letting go of the notes.
Okay. So earning the right, freestyling, letting go in of the notes. Okay. So when you earn the right, the beauty of it is that the learn your story, your share, you learn the good and the ugly, you have it in you. And you don't know because you don't know. So you need to work into it and putting it in word and breaking it down because every challenges that you have gone through in your life, there is learn. There's a lot of lesson learned there. So as I walk through facing myself, because that's what happened at the end of the day. You face the challenges that you decided. Like for me, is it's maybe a few decades of challenges that difficult situation in my life that I didn't want to face because it was easier to just say that they didn't exist by digging a huge hole and putting that in there very, very deep and putting the grass, and making it all pretty. But when I had my daughters, my first daughter, all that came unpacking and I didn't know what to do with myself or with everything that I chose not to face. So I had to face many of the challenges that I did through my life. But the beauty of it is that because I realized through this amazing program that all the content that I needed was in my story,
Mhm.
in the challenges that I've overcame, through the pain that I went um, through let's say the forgiveness that I've given to someone, and it was just a matter of digging deep, digging deep to the point where for me, because I'm an excellent crier, and it's a power. I honestly think it's one of my superpower.
Me and you both. Me and you both.
And to realize that it landed, it anchored. So I was able to go back there, but knowing that I'm in a safe place, that I'm healed, because you cannot, well, you can, but you're doing a disservice to share your story and share your learn um, when you're not able to, let's say, for instance, for me, contain, let's say, all the tears, the hurt. You have to be in a place where you can share your story without attacking someone. It's really, you're sharing the situation, you're sharing your learn, what, the outcome, and the positive thing that happened, and the lesson. And
Mhm.
for me, going through the process and having an excellent system in place for me to follow the steps, and going at it like a baby, because that's how it felt for me for the
Yeah.
first, few weeks, few months, going at it like a baby and going step one, step two, step three. Um, at the end, what I was able to do is, I knew the content was in me, so I just had to trust myself and trust the system. And then the part of freestyling is that not having notes. So I was able to share my story, my lessons, um, without having note, because I had it all in my head, and it was a matter of structuring in a way where it jive, it made sense, and that is something that I have. This is the first time that I've been able to
Yeah.
find a program that allowed me to do that, because I even do it at work, And I remember when I used to you know do program. I had my QT, my notes, and I would go through it, and sometimes you would get nervous. And the funny thing is that, like, when you're nervous and you're holding something, well, you just get more nervous until you let it go. But what happened now, when you're not holding anything, it's you're confident, you got this. And it made it like 100 times so much easier to be able to have a topic, think about my content, because you have it in you, and be able to deliver an amazing talk in whatever amount of time that you have available.
Mhm. And and this is the thing I want people to really get, is part of the reason we train people that way is we're going to talk about death by PowerPoint in one of our one of our presentations, where you have the person who presents and they're reading off their PowerPoint, or when people are holding on to their notes, and we talk a lot about connection and disconnection.
Mhm.
And what I've come to learn is that when I'm calling forth the information, and I'm living within the talk structure that we teach, I'm fully connected with the audience. And do you find that you find content comes out of you that you could not have prepared? Like, I
Yes.
know for me, like, there's stuff that comes out of me that I'm just like, that was brilliant. I don't know where that came from. I truly believe it's a dance between me and the audience.
Mhm.
What would you, if for someone who's looking and saying, "Wow, this sounds this program sounds like whoa,"
Mm.
what would you say to them?
I would say to them this: when I started this program, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew that I needed something more. And I was the one that, when I had my note, I was glued to my note. Uh, and from time to time, because of nervousness, I would play with the note, I would fold the note, and so on and so forth. And then, let's say, for instance, because I wasn't connected with what I was saying, I was more connecting to my note. So let's say if I would have heard someone coughed in the back, I would have lost my train of thought, and became very nervous to try to remember, oh, which note, where am I
Mhm.
now, what am I supposed to do now? Whereas this program has allowed me to freely share what I need to share, the message I need to share, without having to worry, and really playing with the audience, because I already know what I'm going to share. And sometime, depending where the audience is taking me, because I'm so engaged, there is some information that I could be like, you know what? This is not important. This is not important. And no one would know. No one would know
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
myself. But it's all about that deep connection with the audience. It could be through Zoom, it could be in person, but it's that connection that I'm now able to have without worrying about making a mistake. Nobody's perfect. It's something that I have never seen anywhere else but this program. So if you're second guessing yourself, I would say just do it. Just do it.
And I know I said it was the last question, but you said something. So I'm on freestyle right now. I'm play off what I'm getting. You talked about giving perfection, talk about giving up perfection.
Oh,
It's a slogan in our group, give up perfection. Give it up.
yeah. Yeah. You know what? When you're too perfect, there's no connection because no one is well polished. No one speaks not monotone, but you want to connect with people. People need to be able to relate. So by relating, you have to take some of the fluff away. You have to be authentic. So being authentic is deciding to let go of being like of being a perfectionist. I am a recovered perfectionist. And there is moment where I fall back into it and I have to remind myself when I'm too perfect, I lose that power. I don't connect
Mhm.
um, and that's what's so important about being authentic, be yourself. Um, the good, the ugly. I've done interview where I've messed up. Hey, it's okay. It's you know,
Yeah.
people mess up sometime and it's okay. you know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's so much power in authenticity. There's so much power in not being perfect. There's so much power in just being yourself. And I know for myself, I talk about this whole concept of fun and play.
Mhm,
And when I come to train, like when I get into that group and we're on Zoom, I'm like, it is time for fun and play. And
mhm.
we work and we got a lot of things going on and people are digging in and doing stuff and we're auditing videos. But it is the spirit of fun and play.
Yeah.
And we have some laughter, we have some hard moments. It's that how do you come to it? And there's a whole different energy when everybody's coming to it concerned about perfection, concerned about looking good, concerned about getting it right, concerned about not risking too much.
Mhm.
When you create this environment where the other is possible, or some people are like, I've never put this out there before, but I'm gonna do it today.
Yes.
I know I don't have to be perfect. I can be my authentic, funny, loud, vivacious, bold self. And we
Mhm.
got all those people in the group with us. It just creates an amazing place. It also, when we're talking about being in front of an audience, it also creates that permission for the audience to go places with you.
Yeah.
People always like my audience dances and yells and screams and does all sorts of stuff. And people are like, how does that happen?
Mhm.
I hold the space for somewhat crazy to happen. I hold the space for, I tell my audience, talk to me.
Mhm.
I'm here to have a conversation. And so it's been such a joy to watch you kind of peel the onion, take off the layers, and begin to come out to play.
Yeah.
And I am so looking forward because this is the tip of the iceberg.
It is.
It truly it is the tip of the iceberg. So
Yeah.
I am so excited to see what's next and what's coming down the pike as you continue to build and develop your program. I'm just going to check and see comments and questions. I see Joyce Swenson. Hi, Joyce. How are you? So good to have you in the space, my dear. She says, "Wow, that's good. We can't be too connected and dependent on a note uh, on the notes on the paper. Deep
Mhm.
connection with the audience, skill building. It is. It's a skill. It's a skill." Taria's like, wow, that was me this week. I was prepared to share one thing, but my audience needed something different from me in the moment. So I delivered what they needed.
Yes.
That's a freestyler right there.
Great.
Freestyle, Freestyle lives. I got a lot of comments about the 97 books.
See here, Ken's comment is asking which one.
Which is the book you would recommend?
So there is a few. So the 5 a.m. Club, one of my favorite.
Robin Sharma.
Yes, there is another one that's called The Game of Life and How It's Played by Shlomi Ron. That one is very amazing. She has another book too that I've read, I think at least like 15 times now, is Your Word is My Wand, by the same author. And there was a leadership book that you recommended it.
Leader with No Title?
Leaders with No Titles. There's many more, but like those are like, I would say my top 4, my favorite. And there's another book, Pivot. I forget I think I have it here. Yeah, it's Pivot by Adam Markel.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
those would be like my top 5 that I go to constantly. And like you, I have so many books and I have notes because I got to write my notes and all that. So
yes, this one is right here. That's my jam.
Yes.
My jam. Yeah, I have a bookshelf right here. These are my go-to books. I think there's like 20 or 30 on them.
Okay.
And then of course I have my 2 massive bookshelves that are just loaded. But this is the thing. Patricia, it has been amazing to chat with you. So for those of you, we've been talking about our program that's coming up. We have an invitation. If this resonated with you, I see some new people that are here joining us. We're going to drop the link for our upcoming Magnetize and Monetize the Virtual Stage. And we'll have some dates coming up. And definitely get yourself, grab one of those dates, get yourself registered, because it is going to be a fun jam. It is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to give you a showcase. And then if this is what you're looking for and you want to take your speaking, your training, your presentation skills to another level, if you want to engage an audience, if you want to inspire people, and if you want to meet the next best version of yourself, shift your mindset, definitely the place you want to hang out. So Patricia, I've been sitting down with Patricia Larocque. She has been a student walking with us for the past year and a bit, and we're not done.
Nope.
And so we're going to have you back to hear like what happens when you finish building out your program. So thank you all for hanging out with us. My name is Suzanne Hart. You have been hanging out in Unstoppable Mindset. Again, we provide breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking so that you can live every day filled with passion and purpose. We will be back here next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're new to our space and you want to hear more conversations like this or hang out with Patricia and myself and Taria and a lot of people that I see on the line tonight, knock on the door of Unstoppable Mindset for Super Achievers. We'll definitely let you in and come hang out with us. We will see you back here 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week, Thursday. Take care.
Take care.